Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position on a cushion or block, towel, something that can help lengthen the back of your spine, the back of your neck, so you can sit up nice and tall, opening up your diaphragm, opening up your heart, opening up your chest. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is Satya. So the first limb of the 8 limbs of yoga are the Yamas, and the Yamas are guidelines in how to interact with the world. And there are 5 Yamas, and the second of which is Satya, which is Sanskrit for truth. So try to find truth in your mind through integrity, understanding and speaking the truth, understanding what's fact versus opinion. Mark Twain had a nice quote about truth. He says, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. That's quite appropriate. We also find truth in our body through awareness. Finding your personal place between effort and relaxation, knowing that everyone's body is different. If you see me doing something and it's not quite right for you, find your own spot, that sweet spot for yourself, because everyone's body is different. Doing a pose in a comfortable manner to you is what yoga is about. And there's a quote from Aristotle that is appropriate for this. And he said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And lastly, we can find the truth in our spirit through authenticity, being true to yourself. Henry David Thoreau's quote is, we are constantly invited to be who we are. So for this morning's pranayama, we are going to do the Ujjayi breath. And it's a Sanskrit for victorious breath, but it also is used as a soundtrack to your yoga practice. It's a simple way of observing truth in our practice by paying close attention to our breath. And if we listen to that Ujjayi sound that breath technique makes, then we know what the body is happy with and not happy with. So if you find that your sound becomes very shallow and weak, then you know that you need to make an adjustment to make it a little bit more robust. So Ujjayi breath also quiets the mind and slows the flow of breathing. It's a great breath to synchronize your movements too. And lastly, we're going to take a little time to do a meditation. And with this meditation, you can incorporate the Tattva Mudra, which is a mudra for truth. And what it is you take your palm and you place your thumb right below the bottom of your ring finger. And this mudra reminds us that our true nature is unchanging, pure, and whole. That's our authenticity. So let's just take a few moments. You can use that mudra if you like, or just do the meditation in the style that's comfortable for you. And we'll get going on our practice in a moment. You may open your eyes and we can start our practice. We'll start with some sun breaths, and we like to incorporate that Ujjayi breath. And the Ujjayi breath is a sound that emanates from the back of your throat. So when you're inhaling, it's almost like that Darth Vader sound. And you feel that kind of tickling the back of your throat. And then the exhale is through your nose. And it's a sound that, again, emanates from the back of your throat. And it's like if you're trying to blow into a mirror and get that image of what am I trying to say here? You know what I mean? It's like in your mirror, and it fogs up your mirror. So it's that sound that you're making through your throat with your mouth open, but only having your mouth closed, so it comes through your nose. Sorry, that's not a great explanation of it. We've been through the Ujjayi breath quite a bit, so I think you all have that down quite well. So if we place our fingertips on the side of the mat, and then inhale with that Ujjayi breath, that big oceany sound. That's also called, Ujjayi breath is also known as the ocean breath, because the sound is kind of like that seashell sound that you hear when you hold a seashell up to your ear. And then coming down, exhaling. Inhale up, Ujjayi breath. And exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Fogging up the mirror, that's what I was trying to come up with. Okay, inhale up with that Darth Vader breath. And fog up your mirror on the way down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And this time when we come up, Ujjayi breath up, we're going to pivot to the left and do a nice twist and bring our hands down. Right hand lands on our left knee. Left hand lands right behind our hips. And take a nice deep inhale here. And exhale. And then we'll sweep our hands up on the Ujjayi inhale, twisting over to the right, coming down, bringing our left hand onto our right knee, right hand behind our hips, twisting our torso to the right. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale here. And inhale up, we'll do that one more time on each side, twisting over to the left, coming down. Big inhale. And a big exhale. And then inhale, sweeping up. And twisting to the right, coming down. Big inhale in. And exhale out. And then come back to center position. And we'll do a few side stretches from a seated position. And bring our fingertips to our sides and kind of stretch them out as far as they can go. And then we're going to bring our left arm up alongside our ear. And then we're going to bring our right elbow down toward the mat. So that will create that nice crescent shape, tipping us over to the right. And listen to your breath here. You might hear it be a little bit more shallow. So maybe adjust your elbow so you're not in quite a crescent shape. And then come back to center. We'll do that on the other side. Left fingertips are stretched out as far as they can go. Right arm comes up alongside of our ear. Bring the left elbow down toward the mat, creating that crescent shape to the left. Listen to your Ujjayi breath. And then come back up, and we'll do that one more time on each side. Stretching our right fingertips out, left arm comes up, right elbow comes down, torso tips over to the right. And then back up. And sending our left fingertips out. Bring our right arm up alongside of our ear. And then send our left elbow down, tipping over to the left. Listen to that Ujjayi breath. Maybe you're able to tip a little bit further and still maintain that nice even sound. And then back up. Now we'll come up onto our hands and knees into tabletop. With our wrists right below our shoulders, knees right below our hips. Fingers are splayed out, index finger reaching toward the top of the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine. We'll do some cat-cows and continue our Ujjayi breath doing these. So we're going to round our back, dropping our head and tailbone down on the exhale. And then inhale, lifting our head, sending our gaze straight ahead, lifting the tailbone up. And then rounding our back again for cat, Ujjayi breath. Inhale up to cow, Ujjayi breath. And then round our back again. And just keep going on a nice flow that's good for you. Incorporating that Ujjayi breath on the inhale and exhale. And then come back to a neutral spine. We'll come down to lowering our hips to our ankles, coming into child's pose and stretching our arms out in front of us. Just feel that nice stretch. And you can make this your own if you like to have maybe a little bit of a down or puppy pose. You bring your elbows to the mat and stick your arms up and bring your chest down, or just the child's pose, whichever works for you for a nice stretch. I was watching Oscar this morning again, and he must do at least 5 puppy poses before, once the first time he gets up, he goes into this repetition of puppy pose, one after another, and then he's ready to walk away. But it's amazing how much stretching he does first thing in the morning. And then we'll come back up to tabletop. And then we're going to send our hips to our ankles, but keep our torso upright. Come into kind of a hero's pose. And we'll do a few head turns. So we're going to turn our head and look over our right shoulder very gently. And then back to center. And then turn our head to the left. Look over our left shoulder very gently. And then back to center. One more time to the right. And then back to center. And one more time to the left. And back to center. And we'll bring our hands behind our hips, interlacing our fingers. And then kind of stretch them down and then out on the inhale. Sending them out away from our hips. And then exhale, bring your interlaced fingers to your right hip. And then inhale, extend them back out. Exhale over to your left hip. And then inhale, extend them back out. Exhale to the right. Inhale out. Exhale to the left. Inhale out. And exhale to the right. Inhale out. And one last time, exhale to the left. And then inhale out. And then release your hands. Come back up to tabletop. Then we'll tuck our toes under and walk our hands back, coming into squat. And then we'll push down, lifting up to mountain pose. We'll come into our nice mountain pose as we do and ground ourselves every Saturday. So we're going to lift our toes up off the mat, spreading them as far apart as we can. Really stretching the toes out and then bringing them back down to the mat, lifting our heels up off the mat. And then bringing our heels back down to the mat. Just really feeling that grounding that we have with the mat and the earth. Our legs are nice and straight and strong with a gentle bend in our knees. Don't want to ever lock up our knees. It's not necessary in yoga. Our navel is tucked to our spine, elongating the back of our spine and the back of our neck. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Crown of our head is reaching up toward the sky. The chin is tucked a little bit back. It's the essentials of good posture as well as mountain pose. So we'll take a nice deep breath, sweeping our hands up overhead. And exhale, bringing your hands down to the mat, down to the earth, bending your knees as you go to support your lower back. Just take a moment to check in here. See how you are today. Send any nourishing breaths you want to any physical or maybe spiritual need. Then inhale, lifting our hands up to our shins, flattening out our back, sending our gaze down. Half forward fold, and dropping the crown of your head down toward the mat. And just let gravity take over here for a moment. And just using your Ujjayi breath to ease into this pose. And then sweeping your hands all the way up overhead. Coming up onto your tippy toes. We'll do a few sun breaths here. So our hands are up, our toes are up, and then exhale, bringing our hands slowly down and bringing our heels slowly back down to the mat. Then slowly with control, sweep up, lifting up onto our toes, reaching up to the sky, really stretching as high up as you can. And then slowly with control, bringing your arms back down and your heels back down. We'll do that one more time, slowly sweeping up, big Ujjayi inhale. And then slowly, big Ujjayi exhale. Bringing your hands down and your heel back down to the earth. We'll send our hands all the way back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, bringing your hands to your shins, flat back, really stretch that out. Kind of bring your elbows toward your thighs, really feel that stretch along your spine. Then send the crown of your head down toward the earth. And sweep your hands all the way up overhead. Bring your hands together. I'm going to bring our hands out in front of us. We've done what I call the 180 before, but I'm going to do a little variation of that and call it a warrior two arms. So with your arms outstretched in front of you at shoulder height, we're going to take our right hand and we're going to make a 180 circle, and following the hand with our gaze, we'll bring it around to the back, keeping our left hand where it is. So with warrior two, we usually are looking at our front hand, not our back hand, but the arm movement is the same. And then we'll slowly bring that back hand back to the front in the 180-degree circle, or half circle, and do that on the left. So keeping your right hand out in front of you, send our left hand to the back, following the left hand with our gaze, and then slowly bringing it back to the front. One of the 9 drishti points is your thumb, so maybe with your fingers pointing forward, you can follow your thumb. So we're going to send the right arm back, keeping your gaze perhaps on your thumb. And then slowly bring that hand back to the front. And one last time with the left hand, following the gaze. And then back to the front. And then we'll sweep our hands up overhead. Big inhale and exhale, bringing them back down to the mat, bending your knees. Inhale, half forward fold, really straightening that spine. And exhale, dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat. And then while we're down here, we're going to do the next pose. So we're going to send the left hand out in front of our left foot, have it on the mat. And then we're going to bend our left knee toward our left arm, keeping our right leg somewhat straight, again with that soft bend in the knee. And then we're going to sweep our right hand from the mat all the way up overhead, following that hand with your gaze if you can. It's forward fold with a twist. And then bringing that right hand back down, we'll just switch sides. So the right hand comes in front of your right foot. You can bend your right knee towards your right arm. Left leg is straight, but with that soft bend in the knee. And then we'll sweep our left hand all the way up to the sky, following our hand with our gaze. And then bring that hand back down. We'll sweep our hands from the floor all the way up overhead. Palms come to center or together, and then palms come to center. And then palms come to the back of our hips. Fingertips pointing down, palms resting on your hip bones. Relax your shoulders and roll them back. Tucking your chin toward your chest. We'll just drop our shoulders back. Again, this is a great pose to use your Ujjayi breath to see the truth in where your body lies, if it's enjoying this or not. And then we'll come back up and we'll carry on. You ever have one of those days that you just can't get those words out your mouth? I think that's my day today. So thank you for bearing with me. So So we're going to sweep our arms up overhead. Big inhale, and then exhale, bring our hands back down to the mat, bending our knees. We're going to send our right foot to the back of the mat, coming into runner's lunge. So the left knee's right over the left ankle. Our right foot is on the back of the mat with the heel pushing toward the back of the mat. And really feeling that stretch all the way through your thighs. And just making it a nice active pose instead of just kind of being there. You just put some energy into it and really feel that connection of your foot to the mat, of the energy going through your legs, and feeling that stretch. And then bring your knee back down to the mat, top of your foot down to the mat. We'll do a few half monkeys. So we're going to keep our hands right next to our feet, kind of framing our front foot. And we'll stretch out our front leg and ride our thigh down, bringing our forehead toward our knee. And then bend our knee back up and extend our chest out. We're going to send our gaze a little bit high, say up above the tree line, so that we're opening up our chest, opening up our heart. Feeling again the stretch in our thighs and hamstrings. And then back down, straightening out that front leg, riding it down so our forehead comes to the knee. And then coming back up, coming into the lunge, and then sending our chest forward and open. And one last time, we'll straighten out that front leg, ride it down. And then bend it back, nice even flow. Sending our heart forward. And then back to a low lunge, and we're going to tuck the back toes under, coming back into runner's lunge. And while we're in runner's lunge, I'm just going to have you move your left foot toward your left hand a little bit so that your feet are in two separate tracks. They're not one in front of the other. And I'm going to pivot the back foot down, pushing down into the front leg. We're going to come up to warrior one. Then sweep our arms up and overhead. And really feel that connection. Now your chest may be facing toward the right corner of the mat. Or if you like, you can twist it so that's facing toward the front of the mat, if that's comfortable for you. Really feel grounded in your back foot there. And then we're going to bring our hands down in back of our hips and interlace them, rolling our shoulders gently back. And then we pivot from the waist, pivot our torso over our front thigh, just sending our gaze down to our toes and arms straight out. And if you'd like, you can go further into humble warrior by bringing your left shoulder down toward your left knee and sending your interlaced fingers up to the sky for humble warrior. And then come back up. We're going to take our arms and stretch them out to warrior two pose, keeping that bend in the front leg and our back foot nicely grounded. And this time we're going to turn our gaze to our front fingertips. Feel that Navel tucked to the spine. Just barely see your front toe over your knee. Just feel that strength and energy that comes from this pose. Then we'll drop our right hand down, lifting our left fingertips up, sending them up to the sky, following with our gaze for peaceful warrior. And then sending that right arm down to your, left arm down to your left thigh, and sweeping the right hand up toward the sky, straight up. And then we'll send the left hand down, if this is comfortable, down to the mat. And then come back up to warrior two, as if someone's pulling your right arm up. Coming back to warrior two, setting our gaze to our fingertips. And then we'll straighten our left leg out and reach forward as if we're about to grab something off a shelf, and then send our hand down into triangle pose. So we'll send our hand down our leg, all the way down to the mat, and sending our gaze up to our right hand. And then again, have that right hand pull you back up, coming back into warrior two. Nice lunge, sending your gaze to your left fingertips. And then we're going to pivot and bring our hands down to the mat, coming into runner's lunge. Sending your left foot back to join your right foot, coming into plank pose. Shoulders right above your wrists. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine, elevating your hips. And then slowly come down to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, keeping your elbows tucked to your side. And keeping your fingertips where they are, right below your shoulders. You'll lift our chin and chest up, and then push gently down, coming into cobra. And then pushing all the way up to tabletop, and then sending our hips down to child's pose. And then back up to tabletop. Tucking our toes under, we'll lift our hips up to downward dog and pedal out here for a few moments. Arms are nice and straight and strong. Index finger pointing to the top of the mat. Chest reaching toward your thigh, sending your hips up toward the sky. And see how your Ujjayi breath is here. You're probably back to your normal breath, but kind of set up that Ujjayi breath and see how you're doing. And then we'll slowly walk our feet up to our hands, coming into forward fold. And then big inhale, sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together and palms come to heart center. And we'll do that all on the other side. So just take a pause here for a moment. And then sweep our hands up and overhead. Big inhale. And exhale, bringing our hands back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. And this time we're going to send our left foot back and come into runner's lunge. Our front foot is framed by our hands. Knee is right over our ankle. Back leg is extended. Back, the heel on your left foot is pushing toward the back of the mat. And again, just feel that energy and strength in your legs. Make it an active pose for yourself. And then bring your knee, left knee, down to the mat, top of your left foot down to the mat. And we'll do some half monkeys again. We're going to ride our right leg as we straighten it out. Bring our forehead down toward our knee. And then bringing our knee back up, coming to that low lunge, but then extending our chest forward, opening up our heart, sending our gaze perhaps just above the tree line. Really feeling that stretch in our thigh and our hamstrings. And then back down again, straightening out the right leg, riding it down, forehead down toward your knee. And then slowly coming back up again. Extending forward, opening our chest. And then one last time. Straightening our front leg, riding it down. Head toward the knee. And then inhaling, coming back up. Stretching forward. And then coming back to the low lunge position. And tuck our toes underneath and coming back up to runner's lunge. Our knee off the mat. And here we're going to just move our right foot a little bit closer to our right hand so that our feet are in two separate tracks. Pivot the back foot down. And then come up into warrior one. Front knee stays bent over your ankle. Arms are raised up. You can have your chest reaching toward the left corner, or you twist your torso a little bit further so it's reaching toward the front of the mat. And then we'll bring our arms down, hands behind our hips and interlace our fingers. And pivot at the waist, stretching our torso over our right thigh, sending our fingers back. And if you like, you continue going down into humble warrior, bringing your right shoulder down toward your right inner knee, sending your interlaced fingers up to the sky, sending your gaze to the back foot. And then coming all the way back up again, releasing your hands and coming into warrior two. Might need to just adjust your feet a little bit. Feel comfortable there. Your chest is open to the long side of the mat. Both feet are nicely grounded into the mat. You turn your head to look at your right fingertips. And then slowly lower your left hand down Raising your right hand up to the sky for peaceful warrior. And then bringing that hand back down, coming back into warrior two. And then bringing your right forearm down to your right thigh. Extend the side angle. You're sweeping your hand up, straight up to the sky. And if you like, you could send your right hand down to the mat. And then with your left hand, have someone tug you from above, lifting you back up to warrior two. Sending your gaze to your fingertips. And then we'll straighten our front leg out. Send our right fingers forward like we're about to grab something off a shelf. And then down toward our leg, coming into triangle pose. So sending that hand down toward the mat and sending our gaze up to our left fingertips. And then again, have someone help pull you up, coming back into warrior two. And then pivot, bringing both hands down to the mat, coming back to runner's lunge. And then we're going to send our right foot back to meet the left foot, coming into plank pose. Navel's tucked to the spine, elevating our hips slightly. And slowly lowering to the mat, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Keeping our fingertips right below our shoulders. We lift our chin and then our chest. Then slowly pushing down, keeping our elbows tucked to the side, coming into cobra. And then keep pushing, coming into tabletop and sending your hips back down toward your ankles for child's pose. And then lift up to tabletop. You tuck your toes under and lift your hips up to downward dog. And we'll pedal out here for a few moments. And then hit the play button on your soundtrack for Ujjayi Breath. And just listen to your breath for a moment. And then we're going to bring our knees down to the mat, back to tabletop, and swing our feet over to the sides so we can come down into a seated position. We're going to come into staff pose. Find a spot that's on the floor that's even here. The staff pose is an active pose where your toes are flexed, reaching to the sky. You can push down with your fists, lifting your hips and then kind of settling back in so you feel nicely connected to the mat. Then we bring our knees up, tucking our hands underneath our knees. We're going to lift the front of our legs up and come into half boat. We'll do a few toe taps here. So you keep your hands tucked under your knees. I'm going to tap the right toe down to the mat, bring it back up, then tap the left toe down to the mat, bring it back up, And then tap both toes down, bringing it back up. So again, right toe back up, left toe back up, both toes back up. So you can continue here doing the toe tap one at a time and then both. And then if you'd like, you can alternate by releasing your hands from underneath your knees and do the toe taps without tucking your hands underneath your knees. So again, tucking them, one down, two down, both down, release your hands, one down, two down, both down, and you can tuck back under, one down, two down, both down, release, one down, two down, both down, tuck under, one down, two down, both down, release, one down, two down, both down, and tuck again, one down, two down, three down, and then release one last time, one down, two down, and three down, and relax. And we're gonna roll all the way down on our back, so you can do express roll since you're already in that position. Tuck your knees to your chest, give them a nice hug. Maybe rock back and forth. Give your lower back a massage. And then we're gonna send our knees up into a 90-degree angle as if we're seated in a chair. Bring our hands down alongside of us, palms resting on the mat. We're gonna do kind of a scissor leg thing. So our knees are gonna be the stationary point. We're gonna send our right toes down and send our left toes up to the sky. And then bring them back to that 90-degree angle. And then do that on the opposite side. So sending the right toes up to the sky and left toes down toward the mat. They may not touch the mat, and that's fine. And then back up to that 90-degree angle. Again, on the right side, we're sending the right toes down, left toes up, and really point your toes, stretch them out, stretch your legs out, and then back to 90 degrees. Opposite side, right up, left comes down, and then back to 90 degrees. We'll do this for a few moments at your own pace. Up, back to right angle, opposite side. Really pointing your toes toward the sky and toward the mat. We'll do a few more. And then we're going to bring our knees back to our chest. And this time, give them a nice hug and make circles with your toes. And making a nice massage for your lower back. And if you'd like to reverse the direction of your circles. And then hug your knees to your chest. Open your arms out to the side at shoulder height, and we'll do some recline twists. So take your knees and lower them gently over to the right. And then slowly turn your head to look at your left fingertips. And then slowly turn your head back to center. Bring your knees back up, back to center. And then lower your knees to the left on your exhale. And then slowly turn your head to the right to look at your right fingertips. And slowly bring your head back to center. Inhale, bring your knees back to center. And then send your feet down to the bottom of the mat. Prepare for Shavasana. Send your heels out to the corners of the mat. Just let your feet relax. And then follow your feet's example. Bring it to your ankles, your shins, calves, knees, up to your hips. Let your arms relax at your side at a diagonal with the palms facing up. And feel your shoulder blades getting nice and snug into the mat. Shoulders reaching down to touch the mat. Lengthening the spine and the back of your neck. You're taking a big inhale, Ujjayi inhale. And then exhaling through your mouth. You're fogging up a mirror. So inhale through your nose. And then exhale, opening your mouth. Like you're fogging up that mirror. And do that one more time. And relax. And this being November and Thanksgiving month, I'm going to continue the second segment of the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving Address. I'm breaking it up into 3 parts. Last week we did the first part. This week we'll do the second part. And next week we'll do the final part. So again, this is the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving Address, starting today with the Thunderers. We now turn to the west, where our grandfathers, the Thunder Beings, live. With lightning and thundering voices, they bring with them the water that renews life. Now our minds are one. We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the spirit of water. Now our minds are one. We turn our minds to all the fish life in the water. They were instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us as food. We are grateful that we can still find pure water. So We turn now to the fish and send our greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. Now we turn toward the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. And with our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life for many generations to come. Now our minds are one. We now turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter and shade, others with fruit, beauty, and others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many people of the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind, we greet and thank the tree life. Now our minds are one. We put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about over our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs. Each day they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, we send our joyful greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one.